My name is Shelley Goldberg, and we're going to be doing a presentation today on internet service providers. And so please silence your cell phones if you haven't already. And as always, the schedule during our general meetings is to do a financial report, a little discussion on our membership, and then computer club matters, classes, community matters, and then get into our feature presentation. And this is our treasurer's report. Hasn't changed too much. We do have reserve funds, which allows us to upgrade our equipment. We will be shortly upgrading our Apple equipment in the lab. And next year, when Windows 12 comes out, we will be upgrading our PCs. Our membership currently stands at 1,539, so it has been growing, and thanks to the members here. And if you're not a member yet, then go ahead and sign up, and we'll add one to that. And remember that it's $25 only for the first year, so that after you've paid your $25, you can wait until the spring, and if you pay by the end of June, you only have to pay basically $15 for 3 years, which comes out to $5 a year. Thanks. Thank you.
You're out of sync. Back.
Advance. Back up.
Back up? There you go. No, you're in the
Back.
That's just announcing our hours.
Back up to the membership side. Huh? Back up to the membership side.
The memberships. Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
There.
Yeah, I'll go to the next one.
There you
We're just trying to review the slides. Make sure they're right.
We're missing our slide advancers. Just bear with us. We have several subgroups in the computer club. This shows the two that we currently have, which is the Apple users group, which meets on the first Tuesday of each month, and the photography group, which meets on the first Wednesday of each month. We would like to try and get more members involved in some of the newer technologies. So we've been kind of toying with the idea of maybe introducing some new subgroups. Of the people that are here, would any of you be interested in seeing discussions in other areas? Perhaps, let's say, one of them might be social media. Do we have any interest in a social media subgroup? This will be talking about Facebook, Twitter, which is now known as X, things like Instagram, and other social media topics. Is there an interest in that?
Show of
So we've got, yeah, let's raise up your hands real high so we can see. Okay, so we have a few, so maybe that might be something. How about AI, artificial intelligence? No, oh wow, okay. So yeah, we can have discussions on things like ChatGPT, Google Bard, Microsoft Bing, and how to apply that technology to various things. Yeah, how about talking about streaming TV and movies and other things related to cutting the cord? Is there an interest in that? Yeah, looks like there is. How about gaming? People interested in gaming?
No, they all play solitaire.
Now, we do have an Apple group. We don't currently have an Android group. Do we have a number of people that are interested in Android phones, Android tablets, and other Android type devices?
You got it.
So we see a few people there. Okay, all right, very good. So we'll look into possibly doing this in the very near future. Okay, next slide is our computer lab. Our computer lab is open on Mondays and Thursdays currently. It's in the morning only from 9 to 12. And it will be open after this meeting. The next thing is what we talk about is classes, and I'll invite our education director, Ralph, who's out here somewhere. Ralph? Oh, there you are.
He was hiding. I thought. There you go.
I wasn't expecting that, Shirley. I thought you were just going to put the slide up there and say that's it. So we do have a pretty good slate of classes. There's a couple other ones that I'm working on right now. One of them I can remember is mail merge. We're going to do that in November, which is just in time for Christmas cards if you're still mailing them. But we do have a need for additional instructors. Right now, one is not able to do it. He's recovering from some medical problems, but really we have maybe 7 instructors that are pretty regular on giving classes. And you know what, I know everybody knows something about something, you know, and we're even looking for new subjects. We keep running the same subject sometimes, but we run out of ideas. But keep it in mind, if you're interested in teaching a class, it's really easy. I mean, you're doing one. I mean, you know it's easy, so I'm gonna do one. So get a hold of me or anybody in the computer club class if you're interested in maybe trying a class, and we'll help you get started. It's pretty easy, and let them know, and they'll get to me, and we'll talk about it. So I'm really looking to see some new names. Thanks.
Hey, Rob? Yeah, there's an iPhone class that was added recently that's on the 20th.
Right, yeah, that's gonna
It's
be,
not shown up there, so just,
oh, it's on mine, where did I find it? Oh, it's gonna be on the 20th of September, Wednesday, the 20th of September at 10 a.m. Because I know we had our normal iPhone expert, Dave Good, used to be our president. He moved to Nashville, so we kind of ran out of people to do iPhone. It's very, we really do need an iPhone class because basically half or more of the phones that we're carrying around, everybody's probably got one, are iPhones, and there's always something that comes up. Although, if you go into the lab when we're open, there's a lot of people that can help you.
Thanks, Ralph. Okay, and we also usually do a little quick discussion on some of the things happening in the community. There is an Olivia Newton-John tribute concert right here in this room this evening. I think there are still some tickets left if anyone's interested in that. On September 26th, Dave Johnson, the village manager, will be coming to Sun City and be talking about some of the new things happening around the community. On September 28th at 7 o'clock, there will be a Steely Dan tribute concert. And on September 30th, there's going to be a walking challenge. So if you want to walk several miles, come and join it. Okay. So our feature presentation today is going to be on internet providers in Sun City. And I will be doing some of it. Frank Leonardi will be talking about Comcast Xfinity. And we also have some guests from Fox Valley Internet. Fox Valley is a local ISP internet provider, and they've been gracious enough to come and make a presentation for us. These days, you know, people are talking about cutting the cord. Cutting the cord originally was getting rid of your cable TV and replacing that with doing streaming. Now, we're looking at cutting the cord 2.0, where you can actually cut your cable internet as well and replace it with either fiber or 5G wireless or satellite. Next slide. Yeah, one more. So ISPs are basically internet service providers. It's where you get your internet. And you need, these days you need a lot of Wi-Fi to do things like if you have smart speakers or Ring doorbells or smart appliances, thermostats. If you're doing streaming movies and TV shows, you need a lot of internet. And so you want to look towards an ISP, and if you want to, like I said, maybe replace the cable internet that you might have had previously, you're going to look at other vendors. And so we're looking at Comcast, AT&T, Fox Valley, T-Mobile, and Verizon. So the first presenter is going to be Fox Valley.
You might want to hear which.
I'm Shane. Hi, I'm Shane Hampton. I'm the owner of Fox Valley Internet. I've got Karen Diem. Karen's husband, Paul, and her brother-in-law, John, started Fox Valley Internet in 1996. I also brought our newest employee, Jonathan Delgado, with us. Jonathan's local high school student, now graduated, and is working for us at Fox Valley Internet. We really think that we're bridging the digital divide. This is our new website that we introduced earlier this winter. We're really emphasizing privacy and safety. We are a local internet service provider. These are choices that we can make, how we're going to differentiate ourselves from other internet service providers. Those are two things that we decided on as a group, and we're very proud of the type of service we're bringing to rural communities. That's another thing. I'm from Oklahoma. I moved up here with my family in 1997. My wife Sherry teaches at District 303 in St. Charles. I've raised two sons here. But this is where we want to live, and this is a place that needs internet every bit as much as cities and elsewhere. So this is a place we've been focused on. Our journey, as I mentioned, this is an overview. I'm going to cover all three of these, so just to save time, John, next slide. We were born here in Elgin. I've known the Diems almost this long. I met them in 97 or 98. They've been providing affordable, private, and high-quality internet service now for over 2 decades. But we've also been some of the first to introduce private web hosting. Families, small businesses, people from working from home were not that prominent back in the 90s, but ever since mid-2000s, it's been pretty common to start a business out of your home. And of course, you need an internet website. We do that for our customers. Next slide. Some of our milestones. We expanded quite rapidly to cities like Huntley in the 2000 to 2009 era. We received some recognition from local businesses and newspapers and online forums. In 2020 was really a big milestone, and a lot of people don't know this. The FCC manages the public's airspace, and for TV, radio, and now internet, that's very important. So we were able to secure some new FCC spectrum in 2020. We have deployed that to about half of our network, including some that covers Del Webb, and we're going to be deploying a lot more of that in the next couple of years under my watch. I acquired the company in July of last year. My LLC is Get Going Infrastructure Group. We're bringing fiber optic, 5G, as Shelley mentioned, faster speeds, and really advanced services that we host on our own servers in a data center here in DuPage County, down by the airport, and provide that cloud service in the form of email, digital voice, web hosting, software if you're using software as a business. But really, we can enhance the privacy and security ourselves rather than relying on big tech like Amazon, AWS, or Google, or somebody else to manage our cloud services. We want to do that ourselves. Next slide. So today we currently serve over 2,000 customers. We provide internet service, phone service, which we call Fox Phone. We provide a new cloud email, which we're just migrating to, and some of you are going to be getting the coming soon email if you're a foxvalley.net email user. We also can repair your computer. We monitor, of course, our own network, but for businesses, we monitor their networks, the private networks that we manage for them. And I've got quite a bit of experience in that. But cybersecurity, this is really where we think we're going to differentiate. And we're not just cutting edge. I mean, we're future forward. And I know a lot of people raise their hands about AI. We are using the very tools that those cyber criminals are using to exploit weaknesses in email and other cloud services. We're going to use those on them. And the United States government just came out last week and said, hey, our national security forces, our CIA and our Army and armed forces, we're actually going to organize to frustrate our competitors, people in the nation states like China and Korea and Russia and other places. These nation states, just like in the Cold War, we're always trying to undermine America. They're doing that still on the cyber front. And so our government's taken charge to participate in that defense of our cyberspace, and we as businesses, internet service providers, but then I'm going to show you guys a little bit yourselves how we can all do our part. Next slide, please. So why are we security focused? I think it's, like anything, it's an economic reason. There's other reasons as well, but I think one that is kind of common that you can boil it all down to is money a lot of times. And this is in a very, that's an alarm, not my phone ringing. In a very short Google search, FBI.gov tells us that 88,000 people over the age of 60 experienced internet fraud, reported internet fraud last year. This was a 84% increase from the previous year. So that's why cybersecurity and we're security focused. It's happening to us. My family, I get this stuff all the time. So when Shelley and Dave asked me to share some of our information with your community, I was proud and pleased to do so. In Illinois, we have a percentage just like every state. Example, tech support fraud. People call you up, and I'm going to show you some examples of this, and they say, hey, we can help you fix a problem that you've got on your computer or with your TV or what have you. And I was just listening to the radio this morning. On the radio, they were talking about this. They're doing that with people's mortgages. And, they'll call you up and say, hey, we're from your mortgage company or from the credit card company you have an account with. Let us help, rearrange your credit. So they'll come up with any kind of racket to take advantage of people, and that's all we need to do is try to share information with each other so we'll be aware of that. Next slide, please. So 4 common types of scams, cyber crimes, criminals are taking advantage of. Phishing, and I didn't spell that wrong. Who knows what phishing is? Fake emails? Someone else there at the table? The lady's nodding her head? Nope. Phishing. So somebody calls you and they seem like they know something about you, but it's like those old snake oil salesmen. They just keep talking to you and getting information out of you. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. And then they just keep, double talking to you. And pretty soon they've gotten you to tell them information about your, account or your passwords or yourself and your personal history. That's phishing. And they can do that on email electronically, back and forth with you on text messages or whatever. So be aware of that. If someone you don't know or from a source that you're not familiar with starts asking you questions and almost has the right answer, but they don't quite, that's phishing. Phone call scams, malware and ransomware. MGM in Las Vegas just this week got ransomware. So criminals were able to break into their secure systems, change passwords, then contact the corporate executives and say, hey, if you want your system back, you're going to have to pay us a ransom. That's been happening with healthcare organizations, and I'm not trying to scare people, but it can happen to you as well. Maybe you're not as high of a target, but that's something that you still wouldn't want to have someone call you up and say, give me $1,000 in order to get your computer back. Technical support scam. So this is an example of phishing. You can go back, please. There you go. Looks very official. I want to point to the red arrow that I drew on there. They're always asking you to click on a link. Don't do that. Call my company or call your computer company and ask them, hey, I got this email. What should I do with it? They're going to tell you to put it in your spam and junk and throw it away. But if you really got to know what it is, call us and we'll help you figure it out. Next slide, please. Another one looks very official. They even blurred it out because it looks some of those logos. But this is an example of that ransomware. They somehow lock up your computer a little bit and will send you a screenshot like this saying, hey, you've been blocked. In order to get this done, you need to click on this link down here. And in fact, they've just come up with some little hokey way to keep that on your computer screen a little bit long to make you nervous, and then they get you to click on this. So don't click on it. Shut it down, call your computer club or call us. Next slide, please. Tech support scam. This has become really very similar to the previous one, the ransomware. Zeus virus detector. Sounds very official. Has detected something on your computer. Call Microsoft. Everybody's heard of Microsoft. Or call Apple. Don't do it. Next slide, please. So I didn't want to make this a commercial, and I put some information out there to y'all. It's available on our website. But Dave and Shelley asked me to put some slides up here, so I did include this. We provide internet service. We're an internet service provider. That's a physical layer. That's just like saying your Department of Transportation provides roads. Okay, so we are a way to get to the internet. The internet is literally a bunch of autonomous networks. Xfinity's, AT&T's, Verizon's, ours, and our routers and their routers have neighbor lists, so we know who's on their address-wise, and they know who is on our network address-wise. So all that happens is when Dave goes on his computer and types www.amazonprime.com, I take him to Amazon because I know where the fastest way to get to Amazon is, and it's right here in Chicago. It used to probably not be, but now pretty much all those major websites are cached and hubbed right in the cities where the requests originate. So we're an internet service provider. On top of an internet service provider, we provide other services. Those other services include next generation cloud. And by that I mean we're owning our own servers, we're putting them in the internet itself, and we're putting our email and other software on there to sell access to our customers. A lot of business customers, but in some cases, residential customers from Del Webb use these services also. We think we provide a cost saving, particularly if you're paying, as much as $150 or $200 a month for a service provider, just like us, but also their TV service, then they bundle that together and it costs you $200. I think your computer club's offering classes. Many of you are already familiar with streaming, but for $24, $54, or $64 a month, you can have your internet service provider also be your streaming, take you to Hulu TV or some of these other apps, these streaming services. Now, there's some streaming services that don't cost any money, but they're becoming fewer and fewer. That's a tough business model to keep when you're just providing free service. So a lot of them provided free service for a number of years in order to build customer bases. A lot of them, most of them provided very inexpensive service for years. So I'm thinking of Paramount, Netflix, and even some of those, but they're all sort of raising their prices a little bit, but they're still not raising them as much as your cable TV is, and that's because it's just a different business model. Basic internet starts at $24.95 a month. You can stream all your TV shows and movies on that service, but we recommend, of course, like anybody, that you get a little faster service to stream, less buffering, better experience, and that costs $44.95 a month. Is there any questions about this slide?
How high is the offering, and then how high is the streaming?
So the streaming one that we recommend is $44.95.
But how many, what is it called, PMs?
Right, 25 megabits per second. And then most TVs on HD are going to need about 6 to 8 megabits per second. So it's about a fourth of what that service is. Yes, ma'am.
What's your upload and download speeds?
So on that service right there, it's 25 by 5. 25 download and 5 upload. There was a question about?
So what do you physically need in your house? Is this an RF technology? Is it wire technology?
This is a wireless technology. So I have some pictures on my phone. I meant to put them on this slide, but I'll get some pictures to the computer club. We put a little microwave dish or a satellite dish looking thing. It's not pointing up at a satellite like Elon Musk's deal or Dish TV. It's pointing at the water towers in Huntley, Hampshire, or one of the surrounding communities.
So is that a Cambium link?
It's Cambium, right? Cambium is the former Motorola. Cambium is our equipment manufacturer. About 90% of our radio equipment, RF equipment. What the gentleman was asked about is what's on, how do I deliver the service? We have a radio, a Cambium radio on the water tower in Huntley or Hampshire, and we also put a smaller radio on your roof, our customer's roof. And those two radios connect to each other. They're very similar to your cell phone, but they're a fixed wireless service, not a mobile wireless service. Another question?
Is that affected by the weather?
Great question. So everything's affected by the weather. The question is, do we lose service because of the weather? So I like to use this example. We put people on the moon and we talk to them with radios. We use aircraft carriers out in the ocean, and we talk to planes and aircraft carriers with radios. So it's possible to use radio technology in inclement weather, and certainly we have inclement weather in Chicago. As best as we can do, we engineer our network for 99.99 availability, meaning we use, it's less than 30 minutes a month in time that theoretically we could be affected by the weather. But yeah, there's some rain fade. Now it could be on your link, or it could be on our backhaul from the tower out to that internet. But I never mince words with people. I always let them know. I've had, a week's worth of bad weather this winter where we had storms that knocked down power lines. ComEd had 200,000 or 300,000 homes out of service for days. We didn't have anybody out of service for days. We, in fact, didn't have any service at all out during cold weather and the ice storm that brought down. So different kinds of weather affect different types of utilities. Power lines have difficulty with trees falling on them. We have difficulty with really, 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 really heavy rain.
Do we need to buy our own Wi-Fi modem?
Modems. Okay, next question, and then I'll get to the one over on the other side of the room, is modems. So the way the technology works, and everybody's heard the word Wi-Fi too, so I'm going to mix some of these terms in there. I wish I'd have brought a pencil and paper because I love talking with my hands. So the internet, as I said before, is autonomous networks. So AT&T's got a network, Amazon's got a network, we have a network, and we have to connect our networks together. We do that. But we have to, as a service provider, we have to reach your home. So we put a radio on your roof. Comcast brings in a coax cable, and some carriers are now bringing in a fiber optic cable. However they reach their service customer, they have to put some type of device there that authenticates or authorizes that user to get onto our network. That's how we keep our network private and secure, is by not just letting everybody on it. We only let our equipment. So if I sell you the equipment or lease you the equipment as part of my service plan, you're authorized to be on my network as long as you're paying that access fee. Now, your home network, that Ring doorbell or Nest doorbell or those cameras or your laptop or your iPhone, how do those connect to the internet? They are users that you're authorizing to connect on your router. Now, we provide a router if you want one from us, or you can provide your own router. There's a popular router manufacturer called Netgear. Has anybody heard of Netgear? popular, buy them at Best Buy, Walmart, online. Netgear makes a router. It will come with a little username and password on it, my router, password 12345. So we will help you configure that router onto our network, but then you have to configure your own devices or give people, your guest or whomever, the password to get onto that device. Does that answer your question about the router?
It is, but then Costco sells them for $200, right?
Costco may sell one for a couple of $100. They might have less expensive ones if they've been opened and, they call it gray box. I usually buy mine that way. Or Cambium sells them, and they sell them to me for about $75, and I sell them to customers for $90.
You have a router for $90.
I have a router, yes.
You have a monthly service instead of buying a router or not?
We also offer a monthly service to rent the router if you prefer to do that. If that's the case, it's warranty for life and we replace it, but we also manage it. That's the best thing about it. It's plug and forget, We will be able to monitor and manage that router and ensure that if you ever have difficulty getting the device onto the router, you can call us.
How much you pay?
That's $10 a month, $9.95 a month.
Can you add an arrow system onto your routers?
Can I add an arrow system on? I'm not familiar with an arrow system. Can you tell me what an arrow system is?
It's EERO, and what it does is that when you have an area that you can't get, it's a strong signal, you have this on until you.
What's your name, ma'am?
Michelle.
Michelle. So Michelle's asking about an arrow system, and it's kind of like my fishing example. It's not spelled A-R-R-O-W, it's spelled E-O-R-O or E-A or
EERO.
E-E-R-O. It's pronounced arrow. So I am familiar with arrow. Arrow is another type of router. It's a router that also is connected wirelessly. So you plug it into a cable that we give you from our internet connection on your roof, and Michelle said that if you have an area in your home that's not got real good coverage, you can extend coverage into that area of your home with this arrow system. So that's a new type of technology called mesh, and it's taking some of the spectrum that your Wi-Fi router is using to connect the devices, and it's connecting to this other arrow that she's putting in the space over here. So if you have a big room like this, or a lot of users, you may want to use a mesh system in order to give better coverage. But I can do the same thing with my routers, or there's other manufacturers, Cisco for one, and Netgear for another. Netgear's is called Orbi, I think, O-R-B-I. So a lot of people are using these mesh routers because they want to have service someplace else. Smaller homes, not so bad, but if you've got, 3-story home and a big yard, and you want to have, Wi-Fi service out in your backyard or back in a building or shop or something, you need it. Yes, sir.
Years ago, I put a dish on my roof and the association came and made me take it off the roof. So
Those
what kind of
guys.
problems do you have with the association putting your equipment on the roof?
Was it this association?
Yeah.
I can't believe that. These guys.
Del Webb.
There's a commercial on TV where they're making fun of associations because they have their mailbox and stick it out too far. So I'm really not 100% familiar with it. I was told yesterday by.
There is no issue.
Okay.
Shane.
Yeah, we have a couple of dozen, maybe 40 subscribers in the Del Webb community. They're on a 3-foot mast, 36 inches above the roof of the house. And, in some cases, we would like to raise them to 5 feet, for example, because trees or something are obstructing our line of sight to that Huntley Tower. And I was told that we could do that. So I'm going to follow up with your association, your professionals here.
There is no problem with the 3 to 5.
Okay,
Mine is actually at the roof line,
there you go.
so I don't even have a mast at all
Okay.
in my house.
So some of them we put on a little 1-footer, and some of them are 3-footer, and then not here, but elsewhere we use a 5-footer. We can. It sounds like do that legally here in the Huntley Del Webb, for the gentleman to ask the question and for everybody else.
The community got religion when the FCC said they can't prevent us from putting an antenna on the roof.
Yeah. You want to go to the next slide, John? I was asked to share a slide with you that shows where our towers are. Can anybody point out Hampshire Route 20? There's a water tower. You familiar with that water tower? They're building a big, going to be a business subdivision of some sort there. They're doing a lot of earthwork. There's a neighborhood, Tammany Farms, below there. We use near the high school. We use that water tower as well. Can you, Dave, can you just simulate radio going from Hampshire Route 20 into some of your neighborhood there? There you go. So that's all we're doing. We're putting a radio on your roof at one of your homes in the community, and we're pointing it back to that water tower. We like Huntley, Maine, and Huntley on Kreutzer. These two are a little closer, but really Huntley, Maine is our primary water tower. Now I have another, some of you, if you got eye problems like me, these are like 2,600. I had to get a special waiver to get in the military with my eyesight. But next slide, you're going to see a new tool we got. This tool, Cambium makes it. It's wonderful technology. I'll try to describe it to you, but once again, if I could get the assistance of the pointer, there's Route 20. Here's Huntley, Maine. Huntley, Maine up here a little farther right. There we go. So we just blew it up so you can only see these two. So what this thing does is, just like Google Earth drove around the highways and roads and took pictures of everybody's roads, so anybody here use Google Maps and see those wonderful roads? I was in Colorado 20 years ago, and my son showed me that service for the first time. James, people here have asked me if James is coming today, but James is my son, and he's our general manager. So it showed the little dot on my phone moving as my car was driving down the road. It's wonderful technology. So they're using the same technology, except this time they've taken planes, like the U-2 spy plane, but some different plane. They've flown over and they used a radar and they painted the trees and the terrain, and they plugged all that in with science, and they can paint your rooftop and tell my installers where on your roof you'll have good line of sight from your roof to the Huntley, Maine. And so how they illustrate that, for us, we have a computer program so we can really see it, but this is giving you an example. Wherever it's orange or red colored, that's painting a place on someone's roof that we would be able to provide service to you from Huntley. And you can see there's some spaces in there. So terrain will shadow, and it's no different than a car's headlights is what I say. If you could, or take a flashlight as an example. If I had a flashlight and turned the room dark right now, who thinks they'd be able to see my flashlight? Everybody, right? If I got down like this, probably the folks up front here would be able to see my flashlight, but the folks in the back would be, shadowed by some of that other stuff. That's what this technology is doing here. So we could either get a really tall tower, or we could put more towers in. And so we're going to talk to the community about putting more towers in.
If we could move it along.
Yes, sir. Sorry. I really don't have anything else to say. I got to the last part, which was asking questions, so that we could get as many questions answered as we can. But you have some information I shared on your table or individually in chairs. We have new email package coming out, and I tell people it's kind of like using the toll road. To use some of this new cloud service, we have to pay for it. It's not something I wanted to charge everybody for on their internet service, so I'm offering it as an a la carte service, but I really think it's a wonderful new service and something that I'm enjoying myself and my employees are enjoying. So we hope our subscribers will. Next slide. Next slide. This is all available on our website, but these are some of those advanced features you get. Your own little disaster recovery, so if you ever lost all of your email, we can return it to you in a second with all your photos, any of your documents, anything that was attached or used in your email. Next slide. I was going to show you how it works. Click through 3 times and you'll see my screen just move left to right, or right to left, and left to right. There you go. So this is what it tells you. This is my screen from my phone at 8:42 yesterday morning, or a couple of days ago. Next slide. Stay safe online, and then of course our questions, which we already did.
We have some more questions.
Let's go. Yes, ma'am.
I currently have the triple play with Xfinity.
Yes, ma'am.
What would this cost with your service?
I'd probably start with that $44.95 service, and then if you wanted a router, because you're probably getting a router from Xfinity right now, or you have your own,
No, I have my own router.
then we can move your router over to our service.
And, I'm sorry, how much a month
$44.95.
for everything?
Well, we do have a phone. I'm sorry, you said triple play. Yeah, phone service is $19.95 for 3,000 minutes US, Canada, voicemail, caller ID, forward it to another line if you'd like, or have it ring simultaneously on any phone if you'd like it to. So you would, since you have triple play, it would be $45 and $20, so $65.
Thank you.
What about the Comcast portion?
Karen?
Is that also a cable that you have, is it the third component?
Yeah, she would have to cut her cable to a
So, yeah,
streaming
we don't
service.
provide cable or streaming, so that's separate. We don't know.
Yeah, you use one of the new service providers. Hulu TV is a good live TV option, so they have all of the TV channels, but they also have movie channels. Also, frankly, I'm looking into it myself, getting just a regular outdoor TV for free TV. I had this on my boat down in Burnham Harbor, and I got 100 channels, you know, WGN, NBC2, 32, the CW, all the local channels, the PBS channels, MeTV, which I watch Hogan's Heroes on, just everything is on over the air, just like it used to be. I don't know how we ever got to cable TV and not using our antennas, particularly in big cities like Chicago or Elgin and Huntley, you can get it. Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever heard of the Super Box?
I have not heard the Super Box. Can you
Well,
enlighten me?
my sister-in-law has it. She's up in rural Minnesota.
Jonathan, write down Super Box, rural Minnesota.
They charge about $350, a one-time fee. You can get almost any channel that there
okay.
is, and no monthly fee.
Okay. We're going to follow up on that. Yes, Dave, you had another question?
I currently have Comcast as my email server. Can you handle that?
Yes, sir. We have an email service if you'd like to use our email
But what
service.
about my old messages?
We would just move everything over to Comcast or
Would
to our
you
new
need
service.
to change his address?
Can we keep the same address?
So it's currently Bill at Comcast at Xfinity.com. No, you'd have to change your IT or your email address to whatever you want it to be at foxvalley.net.
So I'd have to have all my contacts change the address,
Yes, you would.
which is a big challenge.
We can help you with that. We can help you send out a bulk email to everybody, let them know. And you can transfer all your messages to your box, but you would still have to tell them, just like if you're moving, you need to give them a new mailing address.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. It's Michelle, right?
Yes.
Sorry.
My question is, you're running coaxial cable down the side of the house. and-
Ethernet cable, it's a Cat5
Okay, you're
cable,
doing-
category cable, yep.
All right, you're then running into a copper line. What is your speed loss on that?
So Michelle's asking about the cabling itself. So it's called a category cable because manufacturers, service providers, everybody has to adhere to a spec. Just like that door's got to be 7 foot tall and 39 inches wide, or a window, and different specs in construction and building code. Anybody here retired electrical or plumbing or anything else? Michelle is. So here's what I tell people, and Jonathan can attest to this because when he came on board, the first thing I taught him was about the physical layer, cabling. It's the most important thing. If your wires aren't good, then nothing's going to be good. So there should be zero. I mean, it's a low voltage. It should work at 100 base T, 100 megabits from our service upstairs to yours downstairs, and it should not lose that capability. As long as we use a quality cable, as long as we don't install it too long of a distance, which is 307 feet, and as long as when we install it, we use, good manufacturer and good high quality connectors and install them with good professional skill, we shouldn't have any losses.
Shane, is that Cat 5 or Cat 6?
So it's a Cat 5.
But you're gonna lose your upload speed when you're going through a copper wire to get back to your Ethernet cable.
So we just limit the upload speed to something far less than that wire is capable of. But in an Ethernet cable, there's 8 wires, 2 transmit, 2 receive, 2 more that are shielding, and 2 more that are unused. The 2 transmit and 2 receive are capable of 100 megabits, 100 million bits per second each direction, and we are limiting our speed on the equipment to 25 by 5, so we're not even approaching the 100 megabit on either the transmit or the receive. So there isn't any loss on the upload speed from the cable. It's because we're limiting the speed on the service that we provide.
Last question.
We got to keep moving.
Is it possible to have 2 systems working, like my old one's still active, until I can transfer the people, start your service, and then I'll have actually 2 services going on for a month or 2?
I believe you're talking about your email service? Yes. Yes, of course. Absolutely. You can keep your other email service for as long as you'd like, and turn it off whenever you'd like. I have 3 email services. I have a Gmail account, I have Fox Valley, and then I have a consulting business. Any other questions, or that was the last one?
That's it.
I will be.
That was the last one.
Right. Please come back and over to, I know, is Ann Gallagher in the room today? Didn't see her. Yeah, she came over to visit us this week. A lot of you come over to visit us. We're just across from Sherman Hospital on Randall Road. We've got coffee going all the time. So come over and visit us. We'll answer any questions you have. Thank you very much.
And we're going to run it out to some of the other ISPs. And for those of you that are interested in cutting the cord and streaming, both free and paid streaming packages, we do have a cutting the cord class scheduled for the 21st of this month at the lab. Okay, up next to talk about Comcast Xfinity is Frank Leonardi.
Get the mic, give him the mic.
I need a better mic, I guess.
Oh, that one sounds. All right, thanks so much. I'll try to get through this pretty quickly. Comcast Xfinity is a huge mega corporation, and I'm pretty technical. So basically, I chose it because I can, mess with all the stuff myself, and but I don't think they offer all of the additional services that Fox Valley is talking about. They do offer internet, phone, TV streaming, and home security. Next slide. And so basically, this is taken from their website. So they, offer secure Wi-Fi, download speed 75 megabits, and actually, I believe they go up to 2,000 megabit. I found that at someplace on their website. You can rent a gateway or use your own equipment. They have a low-income household service. They also have a prepaid where you only pay for what you need if you're trying to, manage your expenses. And then there's a federal affordable connectivity program that provides a $30 monthly credit. Now, I don't know details on those things, but Xfinity.com will have that information. Next slide. Okay, so here's a breakdown. This once again is from their website, 75 megabit, up to 4 devices streaming, download music videos, 200, 5 devices, 400, download large files and video chat. Next slide. 800 fast downloads, HD streaming and gaming. 1,000, you have super fast downloads. They're running out of superlatives here. Multiple devices, HD streaming, multiplayer gaming, and then unlimited devices, ultra connected households, pro level gaming, that kind of thing. So basically, I have the 75 megabit because I'm on a budget, that kind of thing. And so we've got 2 tablets, 2 phones, 2 TVs, but generally we'll be streaming on 2 tablets and 1 TV. and it keeps up fine. Every once in a while with Netflix, I'll get that little circle, but it's very rarely. So, you know, that is the bottom tier of their service, but it's working for me. Now, if you've got bigger needs, like if you are gaming kind of thing, or, you know, maybe if you're using AI, I don't know, you might need faster speed on that slide. And so they have this XFi gateway. This includes the cable modem and a Wi-Fi router. Next slide. And so you can also use your own equipment. Basically, you need a cable modem and a Wi-Fi router. Now, I did that. I had a Wi-Fi router, so I bought a cable modem for $150, $160, and they were charging me $25 a month. And so, you know, within a year or so, I broke even. The challenge is it sort of locks you into Xfinity, because at least when I bought my modem, it was approved for certain providers. So, you know, that works for me, but if you want to have flexibility of maybe moving to a different one, you might want to pay that rental fee. Next slide. And that's it for Xfinity. Now, I do have some pricing information. And I have to say, my experience is the first year, it's not free, but it's usually very inexpensive. And so we had it for a year, and I was paying for the internet and the phone, not a cell phone, but basically a landline kind of phone. I was paying $55, and all of a sudden I got an email saying, "Good news, we're improving your service." And along with that, they bumped it up $20, and I'm paying $75. So that's one thing to watch out for, is that most of these, at least large companies, will come in with a lowball offer to get you hooked, and then once you're in there for a while, it'll go up. But I also, Xfinity does not seem to provide a lot of the extra services that Fox Valley was, but you know, if you're technical and savvy, then you know, you can get by pretty well with it. So, any questions? Yes.
Hang on.
Oh, wait.
Oh, I have a big mouth, it's okay. AT&T and Xfinity are putting fiber optic cables throughout Sun City. They're all doing all of this. My question is, they're running these fiber optic cables, are they going strictly to their boxes, or are they actually taking them to our homes? Because if they're only going to the boxes, then they're using copper wiring, and they're not getting the speeds that they're claiming.
Right.
We're
Well,
gonna be talking about that next.
yeah, okay, yeah, I don't really know. The other thing I should point out is that my Xfinity service comes through cable, so it's one of the old style.
Yeah, it's on copper.
Oh, okay. Anything else? Well, thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. And one other thing with regard to AT&T, they have stopped putting fiber optic into Sun City.
Well, they were out by Huntley High School putting it in,
By the high school, that's right.
so they haven't crossed the road yet.
AT&T has wired a number of the neighborhoods in Sun City, and it is available in those neighborhoods. It's questionable right now when or if they're going to expand it. What you need to do if you're interested in AT&T fiber or any of the fixed wireless services such as T-Mobile and Verizon, you go on their website, and this works similarly for all of them. You go on their website, it'll ask you, you'll see a box on there that'll say check availability. You'll need to enter your address, sometimes your phone number along with that, and it will then tell you if it's available. So you can tell whether the AT&T fiber is available. Back up one slide. So with AT&T fiber is kind of like a cable, but it's a very, very thin cable, and they basically run it from the utility box directly to your home. So it's similar in that way to cable. What they advertise is there's no annual contract, unlike with Comcast. There's no equipment fees, there are no data caps, and they're not going to increase your fees at 12 months. Yeah, next slide. Um, So, yeah, this shows the price structure that they have, and it depends on, what speed you want. They've got speeds at, 300, 500, or even a gig. Actually, you can get even more than that. They've got 2 gig that's gonna be available for $150 a month. You can even get 5 gig available for $250 a month if you really have need for something like that. They do have promotional rates that you can get for your first year. Currently, I don't think they have a promo running right now. It runs periodically. They do run these different promotions. The current promotion that they're offering is that you can switch from your old provider to your new provider for free, and then they would reimburse you any cancellation fees that you might have to do the switching. And they also offer gift cards. A lot of these providers will offer gift cards as an incentive to switch. The prices shown here are if you don't have another service with AT&T. So if you do have AT&T as your cellular provider, you can actually get this for $20 less. And so that would reduce the 300 megabits per second package to $35 a month.
What's their upload speeds?
The nice thing about AT&T Fiber is that you're going to get the same speeds, both download and upload. So it's going to be pretty close to the same download speed that you'll get for upload. And that's going to be more than what you need for doing any kind of streaming, for doing 4K movies or Zoom calls, gaming, and using multiple devices at the same time. Okay, next slide. Okay, next we'll talk about the fixed wireless providers, T-Mobile and Verizon that operate 5G internet. Now, these you can look at if you already have either T-Mobile or Verizon as a cellular provider, then you can get a discount off of their rates. So just like with AT&T, it becomes quite an incentive to look at their packages. Now 5G is, the cellular 5G, that's the 5th generation of cellular service. These are delivered via a cell tower so that again, just like with the Fox Valley, it depends on the distance from your house to the cell phone tower. It also depends on how many people are already signed up, so they don't want to overload the circuits. If you get too many people using the same cell tower, the service is going to suffer. So they're going to try to limit the number of people that they put on that tower. And it's competitive. So T-Mobile and Verizon also have promotions where they'll pay your fees to switch from your old carrier to the new carrier. In addition to T-Mobile and Verizon, and here you're looking on the left side is the front and rear of the T-Mobile gateway, and then on the right side is the Verizon gateway. Okay, next slide. And this shows the pricing structure for T-Mobile. It's dependent on what other services you have with T-Mobile. So if you're looking at just the internet service by itself, it's $50 a month. But if you currently have a cellular service with them, depending which package, you're either going to get a $10 or $20 discount from there. So it reduces it down to $30 or $40. The typical speeds that you're going to get are 75 to 250 download. So, and the upload speeds are going to be significantly lower. So here you're going to get about between 15 to 31 megabits per second as an upload speed. And the other thing is, as an incentive, a lot of these packages also include some of the streaming packages. So you may get Netflix and Apple Plus for free. And one thing too T-Mobile does is they also offer a 15-day free test drive. Next slide. And this is Verizon's package, which is similar to T-Mobile. And here again, they're showing, $80 or $60 for their packages. But if you have a cellular plan with Verizon, then it makes it quite feasible because your rates will then go down to either $35 or $45 a month. So the typical speed it's about the same between T-Mobile and Verizon. It's going to be similar speeds. They also offer a free package. They're going to give you a free NFL Sunday ticket, which is normally worth about $450, so that's a good deal. And you can also get either the NFL Sunday ticket, or I think as an alternative to that, if you're not a football watcher, you can get a Samsung Galaxy Chromebook for free. Okay, next slide. So the thing is, what you want to do is you want to check and make sure you're getting the speed that you're actually paying for. And the best way to do that is with one of the speed testing apps. There is one that's called Speedtest. You can also use it on the internet, just using a browser at speedtest.net. The one that you're looking at on the screen is actually it's an actual test that I did using my own gateway, which is AT&T Fiber. And as you can see, I've got pretty close upload speed with 246, which is pretty close to the download speed. And okay, next slide. And a couple of best practices that you may want to look into is you should make sure that you reset your modem and or your router at least once a month. Let it recycle itself, and you'll get better service that way. And during peak hours, let's say between 7 and 11 in the evening, you should expect that the speeds are going to slow down a little bit. You might get buffering depending on the download speeds that you have. You want to take advantage of any promotions and discounts. You're always offering those. There's government subsidies. And the last thing I wanted to mention is if you currently have a landline phone or DSL, anybody still have DSL? Because they're going to be shutting down all of their copper wire landlines and DSL very, very soon. So if you've got that, you're going to want to think about transferring to one of these other packages. Okay, with that, we'll open up to general questions.
How do you reset the router?
It depends on your router and your gateway. Some of them do have a reset button. If you don't have one, or if you can't find the reset button, what you can always do is just disconnect the power cable, just unplug the power cable, wait about a minute or so, and then replug it back in.
One other comment, I talked to Verizon district manager for Verizon, and they chose not to come predominantly because they said there were only a few pockets in Sun City that they would be able to provide the 5G internet service. So they felt that it was probably not productive for them to come today. One other comment, and the fact that Shelley brought up discontinuing your landline phone. I have done that. I put a ZTE unit in. I have consumer cellular, and I put a ZTE unit in and converted my house phone to a cell phone. You plug it in, and all the phones in the house work just like they did with AT&T, but I unplugged the AT&T line on the outside of the house, and now it works just as well. Well, sometimes my wife says no, but anyway, it does work fine, and that's an option that you should be able to utilize if you like.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
Have a good day. Thank you for staying extra time. And then we thank you to Children's School for the great discussion on Fox Valley Internet and some of the cybersecurity issues. The lab will be open shortly, and will be open to the